want you to ask me that question again.
Okay.
And let me think. I'm trying to think of somebody right now.
Well, you got to start by singing. The song.
Okay. What song? She stopped loving her today.
Well, that's George Jones, but Conway Twitty.
What was that one? Oh, yeah. Hello, darling.
That was really good.
Hello, darling. It's been a long time. That's about all I got. Hey, guys, Michael Ray Newman here. We are live in our studio right now. By the time you hear this, it won't be live, though. I got the monster millennial Kevin E. here. We have drug him and flew him and kidnapped him all the way from North Carolina. I got the man, the king. I got the great EP. What up, brother?
Hey, happy to be here, brother. Always great to be in the great state of Texas.
I said EP, like Elvis Presley.
Yeah,
EB.
right, EB, yeah.
I call you E. I'm going to change it to EB after I saw the Elvis movie.
All right, TCB right underneath that.
That's right, baby.
TCB,
TCD, WIT, MVP, WIN. We got it all. We got all the acronyms sliding today. Matter of fact, I probably got another one for you later. But anyway, guys, thanks for being here today. We're glad that you've checked in, and we've been out here cutting up already, so we're having some fun. And what were you asking me about that while I was singing? What was I doing?
So we saw Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn, and I said somebody opened and nobody had ever heard of her before. My dad took me to that concert when I was a little bitty bad boy.
Who opened for? Dolly Parton.
That's a good guess, but that is an incorrect guess. But you get 3 spots.
I got 3 checks. Okay, Janis Joplin.
No. That's not even a good guess.
I know, it's not even. Who opened for her? Now, give me one clue, hint.
She's a female who also crossed over and did some television as well and some movies.
Oh, Tammy Wynette.
That's a pretty good guess too, but people had heard of her.
No, the redhead.
Let me take one.
McEntire.
Reba, I was gonna guess.
Oh, Reba McEntire. I got a crush on her when I was about 6.
Concert, man. Reba, Loretta, and Conway Twitty.
Man, we are dating ourselves today.
Yes, we are.
Kevin E., you are a classic guy too, man. You like the 80s.
I do,
man.
And man, that was my guess too, man. I should have jumped in.
You got to jump in, baby. Hey, okay, every time we step in on the Inside Edge, we want you to do a couple of things. Number one, make it about you. This is a time for you to step back, sit back, take a deep breath, and pour into yourself. We spend so much of our time pouring into other people, taking care of other people, and we wind up running our tank low. And I have seen that more and more lately, especially the first part of this year. People have really set these expectations for themselves. They were not able to meet them so far. So people kind of start giving up already, which it's frustrating a little bit. But as you take a look and step back and hang out with us for these few minutes on this podcast every day, I want you guys to make it about you. Pour back into yourself. Think about yourself and how you can use some of these stories. I mean, not all, you can think about your first concert and all that kind of stuff too. We do like to have some fun. But really pour into yourself, man. And we're going to just talk about a few different topics. We'll be in and out quickly, guys. But after you get done with this, you're going to have done a few things. You're going to be able to, you set back and you reset, restructured yourself and refocused yourself to relaunch yourself into your life, into the next conversation, into the next meeting with your family, with your business, and with your community. So, Edwin Britt, always, man, I'm glad you're here.
Glad to be here, man.
And Kevin E.
Also glad to be here.
How's the new baby? Come on now.
It's great, man. It's a lot of adjusting, as you guys know, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, we gave you some advice earlier, man. The days are long, but the years go fast. Yep. Enjoy them all, including those stinky diapers.
Man, what a wise thing to say.
Yeah.
Man, I find now that some of my days drag on every once in a while, but the years fly by. And that's why it's so important to live with intention and to be able to be, just to be intentional about being intentional, right, as we move through it.
Yeah. You said something, Michael, that, we're going to talk today in this particular podcast about the extra, right, that fuels success. But you said something really critical. As we record this in the studio today and whenever you see it, we're into 2023, and people do have high expectations, and they measure their immediate results, right, and they get frustrated, and sometimes they quit. And today, we want to talk about that extra that fuels success, right?
Man, so many people do that. So I said do there, but that's right, man. And what is the extra, right? I've heard this thing that you've got to exceed expectations. 85% of people, check this out, guys. 85% of people don't even meet expectations. 10% meet them, only 5% exceed them. And it's exactly like I've used the analogy before, Edwin, about going 100 miles an hour. And I was teaching my daughter how to drive a couple of years ago, and she rolls through, and she's going 50 miles an hour. And I say, speed up. She's like, I feel like I'm going so fast. Well, then 3 weeks later when we're driving, I'm telling her to slow down because she's going over the speed limit. And if you want to get consistent about exceeding expectations, you just got to keep doing it. And it's hard the first few times you do it. It's only hard till you learn it, though. But when you start doing it, before you know it, you're used to going at that speed. You're used to always not just meeting expectations, but exceeding expectations. And those 5% turn into the 1%ers financially when they start doing that.
Yeah, that reminds me of a great quote. I wish it was my quote, but I'm not quite smart enough. But I will give credit where credit is due. Historian Charles Kendall Adams, who was president of Cornell University, so he's a pretty smart dude, right? Yeah. He said this: no one ever attains very eminent success by simply doing what is required of him, kind of to your point, right? It is the amount of excellence of what is over and above the required that determines greatness, right? And around that, man, let's talk about 4 extra. You know what the difference between ordinary, when you put extra in, man? You get what? Extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, how do you like when we work that in there, right? So
I was trying to catch up. Wait a second. Oh, yeah.
Number 1 is of these little extras, we can give you 4. A little extra effort daily. A little extra effort. So maybe you're listening to this right now and you're one of those that's gotten a little frustrated because you've been putting in some, but yet maybe not enough. And so we lean into my immediate gratification, typically our results, how much money, what have we done this month, whatever that is for you. I'm going to encourage you and challenge you, right? A little extra effort every single day is much, much bigger than what we think, Michael. It really is a compounding effect of 37 times more. Wow, think about that, man.
Jeez.
37 times more, a little extra effort. What's a little extra effort look like for you, man? Because I've heard you say this before about outworking people, but talk to me about what that's meant to you and your success, Michael.
That's so. And as soon as you start saying that, I started thinking what we coach on spiritually, mentally, physically, personally, professionally, in your career, and the money. Those 7 areas of your life that we should focus on. And it's really simple. When I work out, and you said this, a little extra every single time really compounds and goes huge, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to do so many reps and get so many things in the gym, I'm going to turn around and do 3 more, 2 more at the end of every single set. And if I do, 17 push-ups more every day, multiply 17 times 365. That's a lot. And if I'm going to get my steps in, or if I'm going to hit something, if I'm going to hit a goal, like 1 more phone call. Think about sales, and we talk about this, Edwin, in sales. You are the sales king and been number 1 forever in every industry you've been in. But think about making the 1 more phone call. Think about making 5 more phone calls at the end of the day. Think about until I'm going to work until 5:07 instead of 5 o'clock, or whenever your deadline is, work a few more seconds, or make 1 more phone call to somebody else to just, hey, I've been thinking about you today. I had a guy call me the other day, big old buff, John Barnell. He's listening to our podcast. He'll probably listen to this, man. He's a beast of a football player. Played football with him. He was an amazing dude. We're going to get him on the podcast just because to hear his athletic journey. But his dad was a huge, man in the church. He was a deacon. He, inadvertently preached and coached and mentored me, led us along. All of us boys helped us grow up. I mean, I hadn't talked to – we talk probably once every 3 or 4, 5, 6 months, maybe twice a year sometimes. He called me yesterday, and I texted him while I was on a phone call, so I'll call you right back. I called him back and said, hey, man, I just wanted to let you know I heard your podcast for the first time, and you're awesome, dude. You are kicking butt. You're doing great. I just want to tell you I'm proud of you, and I love you, man. Boom, click. You think I had a better day or a worse day?
Absolutely a better day. Yeah.
Right, that's the little extra I'm talking about too. And in business, you go in and make that phone call for somebody or stop. On the way home, I'm done. I got my butt kicked all day long. And you know what's crazy about that conversation? I'm coming down to meet you. Well, we're having some meetings. We're going to meet in the afternoon. I was going to have another meeting with 2 of our top producers. And I was starting to feel I was feeling kind of insecure about those things, man. We have insecurities.
Sure.
We have things that we're worried about. And I was like, man, dude, I got it, because we're speaking tomorrow, and we're the first part of the year, so we're traveling a lot, doing a lot of talking. So I started feeling a little bit insecure, talking about regret, and I was thinking of some of the things, and it starts creeping back in on me that, man, dude, what are you even? You don't deserve to have a podcast. You don't deserve to be on the stage. I don't deserve some of the. Why? What? I mean, who wants to hear you? And I got that phone call, man, and it took me back to someone who said, hey, man, you ought to write a book. It's not like you're going to change the world. And immediately I thought, no, but I'm going to change somebody's.
That's right, man. And, you know, as you were telling that story there, they asked Muhammad Ali at the height of his career, you know, in training when you're getting ready for a fight, how many sit-ups do you do? And he said, I don't know. Right? And we think about, wow, you don't know? He said, no, because I don't start counting until they start hurting. Right? A little extra effort. Number 2, man, is we all have to give a little extra time. A little extra time. And I don't know anybody, Kevin E., you know, you've heard Michael. Have we ever been anywhere around the world when Michael wasn't talking about his win list? What's important now, right? That is one of the most pivotal things we can give our audience today. If you don't have a win list, what's important now? When you have a win list, it allows you to prioritize your priorities, right? And you get a little bit more done daily. You know, development is done daily, not in a day. It is done daily. So give yourself a little extra time. What has the win list done for you, Michael, and why is that so pivotal to success?
Yeah, with the win list, to me, initially started out a to-do list. Now it's way bigger than that. It's WIN, what's important now. That's the most important thing, is what's important right now, because we can't control the past. Mm-hmm. It's already over, right? We can't control what's going to happen in the future. But we can control this moment, where we are, what process we lose. And if you feel like you have no power because of what's happening to you, we have no power because of the things that are happening to you, how do you take back the power? You control how you respond. You respond to things. You don't react. Reacting is emotional, right?
That's right.
But responsive, there's no, Edwin, you said this one time and I thought it was awesome. There's no good or bad decisions. I stole it from you.
Just consequences.
That's right, baby. There's no good or bad decision. There's just consequences. And I gave him, you know, first time I said it, I said to my buddy Edwin. The next time I say a friend of mine. The third time, I've been owning it ever since.
Yeah.
Saying, and my kids think I came
well,
up
Michael
with
Ray
that.
always says.
Yeah, what I always say, there's no such thing as a bad decision, good or bad. It's just the consequences of the decision. So when if you've made the bad decision, or if something has happened to you, you can't control it, you can take back by how you respond to it, and giving yourself a little more time to take a breath, to wait that 24-hour rule. You know, we have that. But because I have the win list, it keeps me on point for what I need to do right now. I don't get ahead of myself. I don't start looking back. It keeps me, because when I get to scrolling on my emails, my texts, my TikTok, whatever I'm looking at, when I get those, start doing those things, and then I just kind of, look back right here at my win list, and I've got it right here, baby. I mean, I've got it every single day. It says win, 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 and what's important right now. Then I have my 90-day parameters for win. I have my 3-year parameters for win. I have my 12 months. So it's all about my win list, which keeps me on point.
Yeah, so extra effort, extra time. Here's something we all need. You're feeling frustrated. You're not getting everything you want out of your career and your efforts. A little extra help. And you got to have, of the 4 things, you got to have a little extra help, right? And that's where Edge Global comes in, right? We come along beside you. We've been there. We've failed. We've heard. We've learned trial by error. You got to have a little extra help, right? Here's an idea. Whatever field you're in, identify the top 10 leaders in that field, all right? Whether it's real estate, finance, construction, in your area, nationally, globally, and have the courage to reach out to them. You'll find they're going to respond and say, can I get 30 minutes with you to find out how you got to where you are? Michael, if somebody comes to you, and I know they do all the time, and they say, Mike, I've been watching you. I've watched what you've accomplished through time. I like the way you roll, man. You know, would you give me a few minutes to let me pour into you? Most people will not make that ask, will they?
No, you know what we found is that we do a lot of training, and our corporate, or in our small business, and the total operational engagement that we do is leadership, sales, and operations. That's probably the most powerful thing that we do, but we do sales training and leadership training.
Yeah.
And when they get through with an event, changed my life, they come up and they tell us all the great things they're going to do. All you got to do is reach out. I'm going to spend an hour with you.
Yeah. I
mean, how many, Edwin, out of the group of 300 reach out?
Yeah, that's right. Not very many.
Is it 10%?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think fear keeps them from doing that, or they don't want to intrude. I'm not sure, but yeah.
And I get it. But when you talk about asking for help, depending on where you are in your career, there's people that listen to this podcast that are still in high school trying to figure it out, right? And they're asking what they want to do when they grow up. They're not sure yet, and that's okay, because I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up yet. I'm not sure anyway. And then there's guys that have been successful, and they didn't ask for help when they were growing up. They did it the hard way, and it was painful. They didn't have a process. They didn't lean into anybody. They didn't ask for help. My dad, and this is me, right? If you need help, ask for it, and if you don't, prove it.
That's right.
If you need help, ask for it, and if you don't, prove it. There's guys that have been successful. They have their careers going great. They had the lake house, put the kids through college, got the marriage. The kids are moving out now. They're sitting there, and I call it country club rich, because that competitiveness, that drive they had to be something, to make something of their business, make something of their company, or climb the corporate level, to get to see the C-level position, the C-exec side, the suite over there in the corner office. All those things they were trying to do, they've accomplished. And now they're 48, 55 years old, and they're like, man, what's next? The journey's more fulfilling than the end, and I didn't plan on this. And they're a little bit lost, so they go play golf. They go play dominoes at the 19th hole. They start drinking. They start getting a little bit off course because they don't know what their next season is. Those guys need to ask for help. And those guys that reach out to us it doesn't matter what season you're in. If you're early trying to figure it out, or if you're trying to build the process and you're being successful and you want to keep that culture, or you've lost a little bit of your edge because you're looking for the next season, if you need help, ask for it. And if you don't, prove it.
Yeah, and so think about the people that are in your sphere, right, and identifying those. I did that just a few minutes ago before we started recording. Kevin E. sitting over here to my left, he knows more about studio equipment than I do. I want to upgrade my studio when I'm at home. Obviously, here in the studio in Dallas, we're able to have all the professional isms around, right? But I said,
KEPX Studio.
Yeah. How do you, hey, man, I want you to guide me on the best lighting I can get, the best sound. What do I need in order to hit that excellence? You guys need to ask that as well. And we're a great resource for you, but there are others. And then lastly, okay, so a little extra effort, this fuels, a little extra time, a little extra help, and lastly, a little, and this I think the most important, a little extra change, Michael. Right? Here's the thing, man. Most people resist change. Oh, I don't like change now. Oh no. I was with you up until we got to the change part, brother. I don't like changing my pockets, and I don't like changing my life, right? Yeah. Well, I'm with you on the changing pockets, okay? I've kind of got out of the changing my pockets. However, you not only have to be open to change, man, you got to pursue change.
Man.
Brother, you got to pursue change, right? And quality is a race with no finish line. So I want to give you some quick points, man, and jump in and riff on these, Michael. Okay, but I'm gonna hit 5 quick things about change. Don't change just enough to get away from your problems. Change enough to solve your problems. Right? Ooh, just got to get away from these problems. No, be willing to change enough to solve your problems. Number 2, don't change your circumstances to improve your life. Change yourself to improve your circumstances. Right? Just look at it a little bit differently. A couple more, I want you to jump in on these. Don't do the same old things expecting different results. We hear that a lot. Go get different results by doing something new. I challenged somebody on a coaching call earlier this morning about getting closer to the line in his ask. And frustration had gotten to the point where he said, maybe I'm just frustrated enough now that I don't give a damn anymore. That's okay, right? You know, whatever your trigger point
it's
is.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then lastly, don't see change as something hurtful that must be done. See it as something helpful. Now, Michael, you've had to go through a lot of change, man. You've grown and evolved in this. But what's your sense of why change is so critical to that success that so many people are looking for?
Well, I could tell you stories all day long, but I will tell you everybody we've coached personally. Me personally coach, or with Edwin coaches, I've never met one of them that's been successful. And some of them are 8-figure earners, 9-figure earners, 7-figure earners, 6-figure earners, and we've got guys that have been sitting in the C-suite. We've got young businessmen that had 2 trucks as an HVAC company, and now they have 30 since we've been coaching them in 3 years. They've really blown up their business because they've leaned into things that we had. But change, that's where the good stuff happens. I've never met one of those successful people, because there's people we coach right now that are trying to get to success, right? They're still in survival mode. They're trying to get stability, success, and then the big hitters that but none of those big guys that we hit, supposedly big guys, none of them have done it without pain and without change. And what change is painful. And you got to get comfortable at being uncomfortable. And you have to get used to that. So when you're used to living in that little uncomfortableness, that change of that constant pursuing for something better, that's the definition of leveling up. The change thing, the help thing, I think is big for a lot of people that won't ask for help.
Right.
They'll flounder around and go ask somebody, talk to them. There's so many things right now you can find out at our fingertips. There's no such thing as an encyclopedia. You remember back in the day? Now you can find out anything. And we'll talk about something else later, the AI thing that I'm talking about.
Yeah, I love that.
And how big of a game changer that is. But if you don't get on board with change, Because the only thing is certain, there's going to be something changing tomorrow. That is it. And it's awesome to watch people go through different seasons in their 20s and 30s, 40s and 50s, and stay relevant, get out of relevant. The only way to stay relevant in life and not to get bogged down and start dying is continue to change, Edwin. Help is a big one for me. I started rating them, but change and help are right there at it. But change, because if you're not used to changing, it's so painful to change too. Change is always hard, but it's almost always better.
Beautifully said, man. I'll wrap us down with this and then bring us home, Michael. My grandfather was a wise man, and I not knowing one day, I said, I called him Papa Billy. I said, Papa? And he was a very successful man through to the latter part of his career, went through a lot of challenges early in his life and even midlife, but really finished strong, right? And I said, what school did you go to? College is what I thought, right? And, he was a child of the Depression. And he smiled at me and said, son, I went to the school of hard knocks. Right. But he said this.
Got a master's degree.
Yeah, he said this. He said, he who has done his best for his own time has lived for all time. I thought, wow. I didn't quite understand that, but as I reflect back on that, he who has done his best, for his own time has lived for all times, man. So these 4 things are going to be critically important to you making a pivot. Maybe if you're listening to this right now, you feel like I got to pivot. I got to move a little bit closer. These 4 things: effort, time, help, and change, Michael.
I can't say it any better than that. Effort, time, help, and change. Embrace these things. Rewind some of that, Evan. That was some gold right there. I'll be listening to you as we go through this again when this gets launched. And I made some great notes, as I always do with you, man. I appreciate you being here tonight. Kevin E. Monster Little, thanks for getting us going this evening.
Thank you, guys.
All right, brother. Hey, guys, go out, play hard, have fun, and make it count. The way to do that is change, man. Step up to the plate, swing it, knock it out of the park. Don't strike out, and if you do, just get back up, go after it again. And if you can't remember any of that, just do what we always say. My granny used to tell me, just be nice, baby. Just be nice. I love that. People won't always remember exactly what you say, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. See you next time, guys. Appreciate you.